Have I got a cool video for today? We have an American state national trying to explain to Judge Thomas Meyer on my left here why he is right and the law as seen in Washington state is totally wrong and the judge has no jurisdiction over this guy. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. Audio is not that great, but then again, I'm a little bit hard of hearing. Maybe it's better for you. Subtitles are working great on it. So let's go ahead and check the video out. You tell me what you think of the video. Right, let's see what happens here.
I have my rights and I want a lawyer.
Just a matter, Amos Canzoni, come on up and have a seat if you would. Go ahead and have a seat, sure. There's no contract. You and I have no contract. We resolve it in this way. It's a civil infraction, which means the city has the obligation of going first. Go ahead and have a seat and speak into the, if you're more comfortable standing. No, this isn't the time for questions. This isn't the time for questions.
That's a standard Sovcit situation, right? They want to talk all the time. They just want to keep on talking.
What we do here, this is not, we do it in a certain order. The first thing we do is, as you were cited for 2 infractions, is as I read what the officer said, until there's nothing before me, until we have the officer's statement. Once we have the officer's statement, then you can present whatever argument you want. That's the time you make your argument.
So what is it called today?
Pardon?
What are you planning on doing today?
Well, you're defending yourself against the issuance of 2 infractions.
No, I'm not the defendant.
Well,
Defendant, would you agree with me?
you're whatever you want to call yourself, a defendant, a respondent. You're the person who was issued the citations.
Well, according to him, he's an American state national and he doesn't have to abide with the laws of the state of Washington. That's basically his argument. Let's see what the judge is going to say about this.
That's the problem. That's not the defendant.
I've read the argument. You're not raising it at the right time. Raise the argument after I've read the officer's statement into the record.
I have actually contested that statement on the return service that you received in the file.
Okay.
The statement is not accurate.
If it's not accurate, now is not the time. We don't have the statement yet. I need to read the statement.
Yeah, you'd think the judge made it clear, huh? Not for this guy. He wants to keep on interjecting.
On January 2nd, 2025, at approximately 1600 hours, while on patrol within the city limits of Yelm in a marked patrol vehicle, when I observed a silver Buick traveling east on Mossman Avenue with Washington registration ACA 8168. The registration showed expired as of 11/24. I conducted a traffic stop using my emergency lights. The driver was identified as Amos Canzoni by his Washington State driver's license. Amos first gave me a random card stating he was an American citizen and did not need a driver's license. Amos attempted to argue his sovereign citizenship and that he did not need a driver's license.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for this guy. I like this judge. I've seen him before. He's very cool. He's got no time for American state nationals, sovereign citizens, Moors. He doesn't have time for them, and I appreciate that.
Amos was unable to provide me with current proof of insurance and stated he did not have any at this time. Amos was given the opportunity to contact the valid driver who was unable to do so. I advised Amos that his vehicle would be impounded. Amos was given a criminal citation for driving while license suspended in the 3rd degree, a traffic citation for no insurance, and a copy of the TOFR.
I'd say that is fair.
Amos was given a courtesy to his residence. The vehicle was impounded from the scene by Wharton Towing. That's what the officer said. Now I'll listen to you. Now's the time.
All right, let's hear what our American state national has to say here. It's going to be very interesting.
Speak into the The microphone.
I gave the officer very first once when he approached me, I gave him this, my American State National Credential Card. And this has all the information he needed to look up to find out that I'm not a US citizen and therefore not in his jurisdiction. And therefore, there's no issue about traffic violations because there was no crime involved. And then he refused to look up the information by his own choice. So then he required my driver's license, which I told him I can give it to him, but that does not apply because it's my license, it's not the DOL sign, because my name is a copyrighted name, and therefore it's in my possession. But anyway, he then went on to saying about sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron, and I tend to say only morons use that term because a sovereign can never be a citizen. Citizen has an obligation to whatever government or state he's subscribing to, whereas a sovereign, I'm a foreign sovereign. I mean, I'm foreign to your jurisdiction. I'm here talking to you now as a lawful person. I can talk to you because we're both persons in this environment, but I'm not subject to illegal rules and everything. That's up to you. That's you are subject to. I'm not.
It doesn't matter what they call themselves, whether it's American state national, whether it's Moorish national, whether it's a sovereign citizen, whatever else. They all have the same talking points, isn't it? They all have the same talking points. And any judge that's fair and apply the law as he should will recognize that. This judge is one of those. He is very fair and he recognizes nonsense when he sees it, and so he's going to address this guy in the proper manner. I think that's good.
I tried to tell that to the police officer because for his own protection, I told him, look, I'm not really who you think I am. I'm a driver, not driving a commercial vehicle with interstate commerce. It's the only reason I would have a driver's license. So that's why I gave him the credential card first, so he could correct his mistake. He refused to do so, and they ran me through the mill, and you know what the mill was doing afterwards. So that's all criminal now because I'm a foreign sovereign, and I posted it on my door. I posted it in my file that I have a Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, meaning help that holds me, a man, a lawful person, immune towards the legalese, the legal subscription, which a dual citizen has obligation as a citizen.
It doesn't matter what you say, man. Judge is not going to fall for it. And he shouldn't, because you're in America, whether you like it or not. And you have to follow the laws within America. Whether it's a country, whether it's a state, county, it doesn't matter. You have to follow the laws where you are at. You don't like it, go somewhere else. You're going to have to do the same there. That's just life.
I have those obligations. And I try to tell you that too in my paperwork as a meeting. And so you don't have a claim. You have to actually prove jurisdiction over me 1 year. The defendant is not me, but defendant, the name, all caps name, is under my private copyright and trademark. So you basically created, not you with you, I mean the federal government created that name. And I'm asking you, do you agree that the name represents a usufruct derivative? It's something you can use to access my assets and create credit therefrom. And then without my consent or knowledge, you can then create monetary incentives for yourself and for the court and everything. But the credit and the asset still belongs to me. So the conundrum I have with you now is you are the ones who would have to pay the fine on that violation because it doesn't concern me. It concerns a usufruct derivative, which I still don't have any control over, even though it's in my copyright and trademark. That's the whole conundrum I have with the court and with the federal government itself.
How long did it take this guy to get to this point of craziness? I have no idea. I can bet you his circle of friends probably think the same as him. And They probably sit around a fire and talk about the injustice of the laws in America. I have no idea. But that's probably something like that. What do you think?
You trespass on me, you basically transform me into a defendant, all caps in defendant, which I am not, and I have proven that I'm not. And yet you still try to link me to that case with that defendant. And I would claim that the government is responsible to offset all these fines or whatever you want to create under that name and hold me harmless because I have nothing to do with it. So that's, in a nutshell, the situation. But I would also say you have to prove jurisdiction first before you have a case. And you haven't done that so far. Nobody has rebutted my documents I filed into the court case. That means in your own rules, it's admitted truth because it has not been rebutted. It's fact and truth. And then you would technically have to honor these facts and truth. But by continuing with this charade, you do not. And you do not recognize that you're basically now in criminal contempt of the law because do I have to spell it out? As of January 1st, 2025, poof, this court has disappeared. The municipal government has been liquefied with a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which has been finalized January 1st. And now, basically, you don't even exist anymore. Or if you do exist, you would have to be on Washington, D.C. ground because you're not having any rights to be on land and soil. Now, that's something that's in general, that has nothing to do with this court specifically. It's just a general thought that has been put on the people of this country. Now,
If I were that judge, I would probably sit there thinking about the past weekend I had. Lovely fishing trip, barbecue. This guy would, he would put me to sleep. It's just amazing with these people.
I have another document here. I would like to post it. I have it only filed in the docket, but it shows the residents of this country. Residents in all caps named. We all know a resident is only a temporary living in this country or in the state. There's not a single American in the census of 330 million people. Now, my question to you is, why do you insist on treat us like sovereign citizens, which is an oxymoron, rather than recognize our status? Because in Thurston County, there's maybe 2 dozens of us, if it comes to a high number. Everybody else can be treated as a dual U.S. citizen, which gives you all the rights you have, but not against me. So that's your problem now, because I have documented everything in the file. So basically, I made a counterclaim. I nullified your claims, including the fines, including whatever you want to bring up, including the statements of the police officer. They've all been voided out by me responding, return service response. And that also would also be appearance in court, by the way. So he never not appeared in court. I just give you the courtesy. Well, it's basically not a courtesy, it's under duress. I come here to make sure I inform you of the situation you're basically maneuvering yourself into by not recognizing who I am.
Is this guy never going to stop talking? Doesn't matter what he says there. Doesn't matter. He's talking nonsense. And the judge is not going to take any of that in as truth. And he shouldn't. Because whatever that guy is saying over there, it's absolute nonsense.
Foreign zone. Because I'm outside of your jurisdiction period. So that's why you don't really have a case. And it would be wise if you would allow the prosecutor to file a notice of dismissal or cancellation of the case, because it won't have any jurisdiction. And I have proven that on the record.
You have actually proved nothing. Nothing. Except that you've been brainwashed probably by a person or some people. And you found it convenient to believe that story. And now you made it your truth. Making it your truth is not the truth. There's only the truth. Not your truth, my truth is only the truth. There's only one truth. And what you're spewing out here now, that's not the truth. And I believe the judge is going to set you right. Hopefully.
That's fine.
You showed me the paper that you showed. I could not see that from here. Could you see that?
I give it to you. This
Sure.
is what's not in the document. Oh, yeah. And then also, in order for me to be protected, we also have a private indemnity bond. In case I would be involved in a crime or in some property damage, that indemnifies me. I don't need a bond like you guys do. I just need an indemnity bond. So that means if something happens that causes a lot of financial problems, that indemnity bond would be able to connect or follow. So that's the document. And you can see there's two barcodes on there, or whatever they call it. You can access my documents like the police officer could have easily gone, scan those two barcodes and get into the file. And then all the files are in there accessible, the same ones I put into the court case now. So basically, there was no reason for the officer to do anything else except, oh, excuse me, I made a mistake. Have a good day. That would be his proper response to me as identifying me as a foreign sovereign. And he did not do that, and the court did not do that. And I don't go into details right now, but it has been a lot of hassle against me, who is not even involved in this one.
I'm just wondering, as a matter of interest, what do you think? How long did it take this guy to prepare for this court case, which is probably one of the most trivial things that you can be charged with in the United States? How much time did it take this guy to collect all of this information, to be able to present it to a judge in order to get out of the charges? At what dollar value does he put a price on his time? He's not going to change anything with this judge. Nothing going to change. Judge is going to uphold the charges if they are valid. If he found the charges valid, charged against this guy, he's going to uphold that. Guy's not going to change it. This is not the place to change it. You go to lawmakers to change the laws if you want to change. I don't get it. Why spend so much time on something trivial as this? It's all for naught. Just my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but you let me know what you think.
That's the problem I have with you now, that you don't recognize that I'm really not part of this court proceeding.
So you're entitled to call yourself anything you want to. I believe under the law, you're entitled to use any name you want as long as you're not doing that to defraud anybody. Now, it's not of any interest to me whether you call yourself first name, first name, comma, uppercase, lowercase. It's the person that's sitting in front of me.
No,
They take it, it's my turn.
Okay.
But you're arguing that you're basically exempt from you're exempt from the rules that would apply to the citizens of this country.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's arguing, which is a bunch of nonsense. But that is his argument.
The problem is you may be, may not be call yourself a citizen of this country, but when you're using the roadway, you're subject to the rules of the roadway, no matter what you call yourself, a foreign citizen, a sovereign, it doesn't matter. Is this person using the roadway?
Now, if that is not logic at work, I don't know what is. Judge could not have put that any simpler. You use the roads, you follow the law. That's it.
When you do that, there are certain requirements that apply to the people using the roadway. And that if you were, then the officer says you're within the city of Yelm on a road on Mossman Avenue, take judicial notice of that. That's a certified road. You are subject to those obligations. Now, I'm very familiar with all these arguments. I suggest you, it's my turn, sir. I suggest you read Steve Williams. It's in 143 Washington 2nd, which goes into this. We're talking alternative realities here. The reality I subscribe to, this is the state of Washington. This is a validly established court. I have jurisdictions over minor matters, infractions committed within the city by the people that are driving on the road, for example. Now, you don't believe that? State versus Williams goes into that in some detail. They call these arguments, I've looked through this as, at one point they refer to them as semi-literate gibberish, which
Semi-literate gibberish. I could not put it any better than that. I could not put it any better than that. That is a great description. That's a cool description. I like this, Judge.
is basically what it is. These are specious arguments that I don't have to, I'm not taking into effect. They are not recognized in any court in the United States. I know there's a wealth of information, hundreds, thousands of these articles on the internet. You can pull them off. For example, this one signed by Anna Marie Reisinger of Alaska relating to the United States Corporation and the United States USA Corporation. It's all very interesting, but it has no meaning here with me.
I believe this woman is, I could be wrong, but I believe she is part of the founding body of the American State Nationals. I believe that. I could be wrong, but you can check me up on this and maybe comment on down below. But I do believe she's one of the founding, sort of the founding group that got the American State Nationals up and running. I believe so. I think she's out of Alaska, if I'm not wrong.
The officer statement, and he identified you by a Washington driver's license. He did cite you for license suspended, but I'm not able to find that you didn't have a valid license, and so I'm going to dismiss that.
That's fair.
However, I've not been furnished with proof that you had insurance, so I'm going to find that you committed that infraction.
Remember, I said to you, I have an indemnity bond. If anything happens to me in a traffic accident or something that causes damage to somebody else, I'm indemnified. And the word indemnified
Indemnified by who?
lawyers can tell you that it's nothing to do with you. It's to do with the people of this country.
No, the law in the state of Washington is that you have a valid certificate of insurance.
Yeah. That's what you need. Like every other driver in the state, a valid insurance company must actually, be there in case you make a boo-boo on the road. Hopefully not, but in case you do, there should be a valid insurance claim that can be made against you. Not some indemnity nonsense. Doesn't work.
From a recognized issue of insurance. A piece of paper that says I'm indemnified doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but you see, you don't get the point. The point is, you are working for a governmental subcontractor, which is now liquefied. But the point is, you have contract with the country, with the people of this country, and which is the Constitution of 1789 and 1790, which gives you an enumerated services powers, and traffic control is not one of them. So you're usurped all these powers, and I think your legalese people here are articles and facts. These are the topics that read this whole thing. Now, you can claim ignorance of the law. You can do that. But I gave you the information, and according to your own UCC, once knowledge is given, what is a license? If you are a corporation, you need a license to do business. I'm not a corporation.
Yeah, nobody said you're a corporation or should be part of a corporation. You're a citizen. You have to abide by the laws in the state and the county that you're in. That's as simple as it is. As simple as it is. Right. Seems like the judge is ready to make a decision here. Let's see what happens.
Stop you right there. I've heard that before many times. The problem here is we subscribe to different realities.
Exactly.
I agree that 1788, my turn, sir. My turn. 1789, I think that was when the Constitution was fully ratified and became the law of the land. And for ever since that time, countless scholars from the Supreme Court on down have spent their lives studying the Constitution, figuring out what it means, trying to interpret it, how it applies to specific events. One of the issues is back then, Your way of getting around was horse and carriage. There wasn't any such thing as an automobile. Now, that went on for a long, long time. Only the last few years, comparatively, this alternate way of looking at the Constitution rose up. It's not taught in any law school that I'm aware of. It's kind of an internet sensation, and it is, to paraphrase Shakespeare a little bit, a lot of a big tale full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Our guy down there in the in the benches, he's proof of that.
This is what you're arguing to me means in my frame of reference, it means nothing. It's not recognized in any of our courts. As they say, it's an alternative reality, and that's been done. People have gone to other countries and decided this is the reality we're going to have. I've made my ruling. I'm concluding the hearing.
I would like to respond to that. You're right on target when you say we're not in the same area of existence. You're a legal fiction. You're a judge. That's a legal fiction. It doesn't exist in the real world. The land and soil is where the people live and act upon. And by the way, the officer confirmed that I was driving on public roads.
And you need a license, because the public needs a license. You were not on private road, you were on public road. You need a license, insurance, tags, all those kind of good things. On a private road, different story. You don't need anything, except for the owner of that piece of road to give you the permission to be on there. That's all you need. But public road, all the laws apply.
Who owns the public roads? The public, not the police department, not you as a judge. And so that has to be respected for those who have identified themselves as the public. Again, a US citizen is not the public. You're correct in that they're two different realms. But the mistake you're making is you do not recognize my realm, the real realm. And you can do that, but then again, I'm not part of it, so you have no rights to rule against me at all. That's my point. You made the point yourself.
We could sit here and we could discuss this to no end. We're ships passing in the night. You don't agree with what I'm saying. I don't agree with what you're saying. What I am saying is what is currently the law is recognized by the Washington State Supreme Court and the Washington State Court of Appeals and the Washington State Superior Court. If you think I'm wrong in applying the law as it exists, you can appeal me.
Well, okay, but have you proven jurisdiction?
We're done.
All right, so let's stop the video here. There's nothing much happening from this point on. What an interesting conversation between the two of them, right? This guy comes up with the weirdest stuff, which we know. If you've followed Sovcit Others for any sort of time, you know that this is the argument they bring forth. And the judges, if they are fair and sound-minded and logic, they do not agree with these guys. Some actually do. And I think that's something totally different. It shouldn't happen. But some do. Some DAs do. And they let these guys go. Or they just don't want to deal with this type of nonsense. Now this judge is dealing with them. And I think he shut him down quite good. It was a good video. Tell me what you think of the conversation. I'd like to know. Great stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time. If you're not yet subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Give us a like, say hi in the comments. I do appreciate that. And then I'll see you in the next one.